The internet is often seen as ordinary, a place for work, entertainment, and connection. But beneath that familiar surface, there are sites that defy explanation. Pages built not to inform or entertain, but to disturb. Some of these websites are artistic experiments that blur the line between creativity and obsession. Others are archives of tragedy and places you'd wish you hadn't found. And a few cross into territory so dark they make you question why they exist at all, or who could have created them. Today, we're going to explore some of the most disturbing websites ever made. This video contains disturbing content and is not for everyone. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you know. Let's begin. Mouchette. Back in the 90s, the internet was still the next big thing, and not yet the ubiquitous thing we live with today. Social media platforms hadn't really been invented yet, at least the ones you're probably used to now, and the World Wide Web was a totally different place. One of the earliest examples of internet art, Mouchette was created by a mysterious figure under the pseudonym Mouchette. The name was loosely based on Robert Bresson's 1967 film and Georges Bernanos's 1937 novel of the same name, which tells the story of a French teenage girl who commits S-word after being S-a'd. Dark background. But despite that dark background, the homepage presents an innocent facade featuring a young girl's photograph and pink flowers, which sometimes change to orange. A pixelated fly stutters across the page, leading to a labyrinth maze of web pages. This fly is central to the website, as in French, little fly does translate to Mouchette. At the very top, there are simple HTML checkboxes that say the following: My name is Mouchette. I live in Amsterdam. I am nearly 13 years old. I am an artist. May I invite you? Le site existe aussi en français. My next mood is reload. The last checkbox is unticked, and upon pressing the word reload, which is highlighted in red, a random audio plays, such as a woman laughing, and sometimes a speech bubble pops up saying, "There is no love for the weak, for someone like me. There is no love for the coward, for someone like me. There is no love for a freak, for someone like me. There is no love for a narcissist, for someone like me. There is," and then it has arrows. And when you press those 3 arrows, you get redirected to a page with a table. The columns are date, name, and what is the best way to commit S-word when you're under 13. There are thousands of messages neatly formatted under these columns, as recent as this year and as far back as December of 1997, creating a 27-year archive of user submissions. At the bottom of the site, there's a section linking to some of the most famous users. One of them, named Billy, left this insanely long post. Seriously, it reads like a short novel, and I'm not going to read all of it here because, frankly, it's just kind of boring and rambling, but I'll leave it on screen quickly so you can pause and go through it if you want. It's super weird, but interesting. There is a digital flesh and blood section, which shows a close-up image of a girl pressing her face and tongue against a scanner glass, asking visitors to put your cheek on the monitor and try my tongue on your screen. So when I first clicked on this, I got goosebumps. It felt like I wasn't supposed to be seeing it. This site is so disturbing. And then there are secret links that are hidden throughout the pages, which you can only find by hovering your mouse over the empty spaces that lead to these hidden messages. I mean, I was just clicking around randomly, and each random click brought me somewhere else. And something that is particularly disturbing is the Meet My Parents section. The words Papa and Mama are carved into animated raw meat, accompanied by disturbing sounds. The creator remained anonymous for over 14 years since the site was created, sparking intense debates on internet art mailing lists like NetTime and Rhizome about who was actually behind the project. The author even went as far as setting up multiple fake reveals, including events where the curious were invited to meet the author personally, only to be presented with random middle-aged men as a prank. And finally, in 2010, she revealed herself to be Martine Nedam, a visual artist, research scientist, and professor from France. She lives and works in Amsterdam, teaching at the Gerrit Rietveld Academy, which is an art academy. She began her career as an artist in 1988, creating text objects like banners and plaques, which were exhibited in museums and galleries. And she began creating virtual characters in 1996, with Mouchette being her very first creation, inspired by the film. Some people didn't take the disturbing content combined with the young character very well, though. In the early 2000s, French police investigated the site for allegedly promoting S-word among young people. The site is not a frozen piece of work either. User-generated content is a key part of the site. We already saw one of the characters in the S-word kit section. Another one is Lucy Cortina, who became a legendary character on the site, posting elaborate fictional stories in the comments between 2002 and 2006. Some of these submissions were clearly fictional, while others seemed genuine expressions of distress, which makes reading through all the messages extremely unsettling. You never know what is real and what is not. Nedam does moderate these submissions, but not to any particularly obvious criteria. There are hate comments as well as legitimate pieces all in the table. The project still lives on, and you can still contribute to the vast collection of articles and content, whether you think it is groundbreakingly experimental or far too eerie to explore. And in my opinion, it is very eerie to explore. I could do a whole deep dive on this website. I mean, I just kept clicking and finding weirder and weirder stuff. This website is just disturbing as hell. I mean, I wouldn't suggest going on here, but if you do, just approach it with caution. Sentimental Corp. Some websites are strange, some are unsettling, and Sentimental Corp is both. Created by the mysterious Randy Prozac in 2010, it has quietly drawn in those curious enough to explore its dark and unpredictable corners. The main homepage features a simple couple watching TV with 5 clickable animated GIFs laid out in a row. Each one leads to an increasingly disturbing subpage. Fixed State Plus, also known as the Psychiatric Care Unit, features an audio cassette player with warnings that say that playing the audio will expose visitors to mind control technology. The audio contains high-pitched frequencies that Prozac claims were designed and recorded based on available patented military research papers. Whether true or not, it is difficult to listen to. The very irritating high-pitched sounds and apparently exposure to it can cause permanent destruction of cognitive personality. Apparently, used frequencies designed to alter brainwaves and induce fixed state conditions in listeners. On to the second section, Systems Death Recordings. It is an archive of over 200 musical albums spanning all the way from 1987 till present day, 2025, as of the time of recording. Album titles include explicitly disturbing content such as R-word, murder, and S-word are easier when you use a keyboard shortcut, and human remains found inside cans of beefaroni. The actual music is described as industrial, experimental, and deliberately disturbing, with lyrics focusing on conspiracy theories, body horror, and social decay. Just super strange stuff. The third and fourth sections are perhaps some of the creepiest and most disturbing content on the site. Goat Worship was Prozac's original video project. It featured real hospitalized mental health patients participating willingly or unwillingly in bizarre experimental videos. It was initially private therapy for a couple patients from an Alberta hospital where they acted out their repressed experiences.
Out there, and I'm gonna get you, and I'm gonna get you, and I'm gonna get everybody, and I'm gonna get you all. Kill it, yeah, I'll kill it, yeah. Isn't pizza and fucking all that shit. Fucking garbage, but I don't cheat. Don't you be calling Jamie a chair, you fucking little. Don't call him a chair. You grab your beer and you put it over here. Okay, you grab this corner and you pick it up. No, you grab your little wallet and you put it right here. Alright, now fucking try and shoot that corner, quick. You drink that, bitch.
Chippy?
Yeah.
I want to tell you something.
What?
I'm going to tell you something personal.
I don't want to hear it.
Michael.
There could be an accident, and you gotta be safe. Cause if there's an accident, who's gonna look after your kids? Cause if you leave them and die, then your kids aren't gonna have a daddy or a mommy. Hi, I'm Jimpy, and I'm a safety clown. Cause I need to tell people about how important it is to be safe. You know, everyone is concerned about their well-being, and I'm concerned about their well-being too.
I found somebody tampons. Asking for it. They said you can suck it dry. I said tampons, I'm gonna suck it dry. Then we get at it. Oh, yeah.
His own version of psychodrama. According to him, he had permission to sign them out, drive them to his house, and was even fully funded by the province of Alberta themselves. In his own words, there was plenty of room for subconscious outburst, and much of it was simply that, volatile, spontaneous regressions. Sometimes it ended in tears. Sometimes it ended in anger. A few times it ended in violence. That was goat worship. It was very problematic and sometimes a dangerous situation. For them and myself, I myself have been vomited on, punched in the face, had my equipment smashed, my government identification stolen, numerous things that made it very precarious endeavor. However, it was beneficial expenditure for everyone involved. Many of the videos were initially uploaded to the site, but later removed or hidden behind authorization screens, but dedicated fans archived most of it. An archive website actually contains several of these videos, which are extremely disturbing to look at, and some are even on YouTube. Eventually, he moved on to fictional patients in the Parasite Dreams animations. After goat worship ended, Prozac created similar videos using modified Sims 2 characters to recreate similar psychological scenarios. He had lobotomized the software to create these disturbing videos that are impossible to make in the original game, resulting in bizarre animations that include characters in violent interactions and just surreal horror sequences.
What will we call our band? I was thinking we will be called the Arsonists, since we both like to burn things down. Oh, yeah, that would be a good punk name. Yeah, the Arsonist #1. Let's write songs down and record them. I already have songs. I am ready to be punk.
Maggie, that's fine and dandy. And don't forget the Caesar's cooler.
I love Caesar's cooler. Wojtek, what's that smell? It sounds like weak old moldy pee.
No, Aggie, it's just dead gophers that I sealed with aerosol plastic. It's my art. I made them like in Dawn of the Dead, eating one another.
Oh, yeah, I mean, people just wouldn't understand, especially the law, so we wouldn't want to confuse anyone. And they don't need to know anyway. They have enough on their minds as it is. And we wouldn't want to burden anyone with anything. Yeah, Ed, I know the rules.
There are two main sections, the original 2010 version and a 2030 version labeled with virus themes and biohazard symbols. Finally, the Eyes of Randy Prozac section contains extremist political rants, mainly about population control, government conspiracies, and social engineering. The average Twitter account these days, to be honest. It also includes claims about vaccines causing people to internally hemorrhage and vomit blood, and also conspiracy theories about 5G technology being used as deep state EMF weapons are prominent. It basically promotes all of these extremist viewpoints such as anti-vaccination, anti-government, and population control conspiracies. So, who is Randy Prozac? Surely someone must have found out who he is. After all, it is very difficult to stay completely anonymous in this age, but somehow he managed it. Nobody knows who he is, but he did reveal some details about himself in that interview I mentioned earlier. According to him, he is someone who studied the graphs and makes designated strategic corrections against unnamed adversaries. He removed the stimaceiver, presumably from himself, and stated that he could do whatever he wanted, suggesting involvement in mind control experiments. The website is still active, and he is still releasing content to this day that is relevant to modern culture. Angel Fall. Imagine a single website containing over 2,300 pages of supernatural research, mathematical codes, and biblical analysis, all crafted by one man. Angel Fall isn't just a book online. It's the life's work of Dale Washburn, who spent over 15,000 hours studying the Bible and a system he calls theomatics to answer humanity's oldest questions. Why are we here? Is there a God? And is it possible to prove it scientifically? Welcome to a site that claims to do exactly that and more. Washburn, who lives near Portland, Oregon, works as a secretary for the Pan American Mission and is also a multi-millionaire pilot and real estate developer. He describes himself as a simple Bible believer with a heartfelt desire to share the truth. The main mission of the site is to scientifically prove that God wrote the Bible, all for free, with no paywalls or commercial intent, describing itself as the website that answers the eternal questions. Basically, it claims that hidden inside the Bible text is a mathematical code that will reveal whether God exists or not. It is not intended to prove Christianity or any religion true. Instead, it aims to show that all religions are false. The synopsis of the website/book itself is 28 pages, which shows how much work has really gone into this. The second section defines theomatics, which is also the name of the sister site, as the Greek word for God, theo, and matics, which is mathematics. Then it provides an overview of this phenomenon, including sample structures and patterns, and apparently absolute scientific proof. The third section shifts to interpretations instead of technical data, discussing how to understand God and interpret the writings of the Bible through the lens of theomatics. Section 4 is, according to the website, where the formal representation of Angel Fall really begins. In this section, there is the Angel Fall Manifesto, which is a reprint of a 1917 presentation by South African missionary and famous writer Andrew Murray. Following this is an in-depth examination of Satan and pre-existence through the analysis of Genesis, the very first book in the Bible. Section 5, called Connecting the Dots and Putting the Pieces Together, is the largest section on the site and is the central core of the entire website. It apparently shows conclusive evidence of the connection of men to angels in the book of Genesis. Section 6 talks about the evidence of these theomatic patterns in the Bible. The website claims that the scientific and mathematical consistency of these patterns in the Bible are absolutely mind-boggling, and that these results may actually be the most significant discovery in the history of mankind. The next section, Section 7, is somewhat of a detour. discussing the question of why did God create men. Section 8 deals with the question of how all of us could have been born into this world but already have existed in heaven beforehand as angels but have no memory of these prior events. Then it answers that eternal question, why God does or does not always answer people's prayers, a major atheist talking point. Section 9 talks about what the serpent in the Garden of Eden actually represents. Section 10 apparently contains the most revealing thematic patterns and truth in the entirety of Angel Fall. Section 11 is divided into 2 parts, a general discussion of hell in general, and also the significance of the number 235 when talking about hell. And Section 12 is kind of strange. It discusses the meaning of the story of the 153 fish in John chapter 21, verse 11. Apparently, it is very significant. Section 13 discusses the prophecies given in the Bible, specifically the ones about the end times taught by Christians, which supposedly does not even exist according to Angel Fall. The penultimate section, Section 14, says that the concept of Great Tribulation, which is a major teaching in the Christian world, that after the end of this world, there is going to come a time called the Great Tribulation, is not even real and doesn't exist at all in the Bible. Finally, the last section is more personal. It discusses what you should do, or can do, about all this new information you had just learned. After all that, you might be able to understand the true depth of these pages, which we just barely summarized here. The site closes with a prayer that expresses hope for the anointing of the Holy Spirit and a message and the readers, while underscoring humility as the key to understanding. As said by the site, humility is the key that unlocks the door. Without humility and faith, there can be no understanding. Housecreep. Housing prices are skyrocketing these days, and finding a home for a decent price is harder than finding a needle in a haystack. But what if suddenly you see the deal of a lifetime? It looks perfect from every angle. Good location, good condition, and most importantly, a good price. When things look too good to be true, they usually are. Introducing Housecreep, the largest crowdsourced database for stigmatized properties. Founded in 2013 by Canadian brothers Albert and Robert Armeri, they came up with the idea from their own personal house hunting troubles in 2013, when they had difficulties finding the real history of a property. So they created Housecreep to bring together all the information that makes a property unappealing, such as murders, brothels, grave sites, and alleged hauntings. It currently contains over 25,000 properties across North America, a number that's growing daily. The most interesting part is that it is crowdsourced, meaning that anyone can submit information about the property by filling out forms that are reviewed by volunteer moderators before being published on the site. The properties are split into several categories, such as murder houses, which are the largest group. Information about the victim names, circumstances, and perpetrator's identity, along with the crime scene details, are included. S-word locations are documented extensively, including the methods used and the circumstances that led to the tragic incidents, creating a morbid catalog of information. Former drug labs and grow-op sites are also mapped, showing places there may still be some contamination. Serial killer residences are also specifically cataloged in a separate section, showing where infamous murderers lived, worked, and committed their crimes. There are even curated lists such as Unsolved Canada and the NFL's True Crime Houses, which you can peruse through for your own entertainment. Of course, the most visited ones are the high-profile celebrity murder cases, which get thousands of views daily. Recent violent crimes also draw significant attention, with them trending within hours of submission. Whether you think this is ethical or not, it definitely is a big help for potential home buyers, or at the very least, entertainment for the morbidly curious. And alright guys, that wraps up some disturbing internet websites. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and subscribe to the Patreon for just $5 a month. And you get plenty of perks. Check the pinned comment and the link in the description to subscribe. Join the community over there. It's a great community over there. And comment down below, what's your favorite case in today's video? Mine was probably, I don't know, Sentimental Corp or Angel Fall. Both were super interesting, and I'd love to do a deep dive video on both of those. So comment down below if you'd like to see a deep dive on either of those. And if you would, just, comment down below. I appreciate you guys watching. This was Snook, and I'll see you next time. Bye.